New tonight, here's a big talker for you. Arizona Congressman Paul Gosar stirring up some controversy today. On Twitter, the Republican representative posted a series of tweets about immigration, directing people to the Americans for Legal Immigration PAC website. Here's the problem. The Southern Poverty Law Center says that organization is a hate group. We reached out to Gosar's office asking whether he was aware of the listing and got a pretty terse response saying in part, the immigration group has a website. It very clearly states what it stands for, which is really quite simple: enforcement of our immigration laws. If this makes it a hate group, then the entire federal government is a hate group, as it is merely seeking enforcement of federal law. Some strong words there. Political editor Dennis Welch joins me in studio. You had some back and forth with Gosar's office, and that certainly wasn't the only thing in that statement.
No, it definitely wasn't. But first of all, I just want to say that the SPLC, the Southern Poverty Law Center, is a very it's got a long history with this group, civil rights advocacy, and part of what they do is track hate groups. And what we wanted to know is this morning whether Mr. Gosar was aware that they had been labeled as a hate group by the Southern Poverty Law Center, and clearly they did, because we got that terse response. And also included in that, Gosar's office seemed to make this case that the SPLC itself was a left-wing hate group, and to further make their case, they pointed me to several articles that they say discredit the SPLC, and two of the articles that they pointed to were actually coming from published by organizations that themselves were listed as hate groups by the Southern Poverty Law Center.
It's interesting because they tried to say Southern Poverty Law Center promoting a toxic brew of far-left ideology with unhealthy doses of victimization, direct quotes from their response to you. But you also talked to the president of that organization, this Ali PAC, William Geen. What did he have to say?
Well, it was a pretty interesting conversation with him, obviously. He denies any involvement. He says flatly that they are not a hate group at all. And he gave me this pretty interesting quote, and I want to read part of this to you guys here so I get it right. And he tells me, he says, in this day and age, you could be a black, female, Jewish, bisexual, paraplegic, and still be listed as a hate group if you spoke out against illegal immigration or amnesty. So it was it was pretty strong that he came out there. But I also got to say that this group, his organization, has a history here in Arizona of stirring up controversy. Talk to Senator John McCain or Senator Jeff Flake. They beat up their Republican primary opponents in prior elections for taking endorsements for this group, and they made that case as well. McCain and Flake made the case that they were accepting endorsements from an organization that trafficked in hate. So definitely, this is something that is, they've got a history here. But the head of this organization also pointed out that they have endorsed other candidates here in Arizona, including Kelly Ward, who is running against Jeff Flake, and Paul Gosar, Congressman Paul Gosar, Congressman Trent Franks, as well as Congressman David Schweikert.
It's just interesting that our own congressman seems to be having a hard time discerning the difference between free speech and hate speech when we're at this crossroads. But Dennis, thanks for tracking down some answers today. I think we still have a lot of questions. Sure.